Chapter 1. A Wish for a Second Chance. Catherine Lynn lay on the sterile hospital bed, the beeping machines a monotonous reminder of her dwindling time. She was 30, but felt much older. Cancer had ravaged her body, leaving her a shadow of the vibrant woman she once was. She had worked tirelessly all her life, her only goal to rise above her tragic beginnings. Born an orphan, she was handed to neglectful relatives who squandered her parents' modest inheritance. Abused and overlooked, she had fought her way through life, her eyes always set on a future where she would be free and rich. But that future never came. She had no friends, no moments of joy to look back on, only endless days of work. As she lay there, her strength ebbing away, tears rolled down her cheeks. She regretted it all. She wished she had laughed more, loved more, lived more. If only I had a second chance, she whispered to the empty room. The world around her faded, and she succumbed to the darkness, alone and unfulfilled. Catherine awoke with a start, her heart pounding. She blinked against the soft, golden light filtering through lacy curtains. Her surroundings were unfamiliar. She was in a luxurious room filled with an array of toys and decorations that seemed straight out of a fairy tale. She touched her head, feeling the bandage wrapped around it. A dull ache throbbed beneath her fingertips. "Where am I?" she whispered, her voice small and childlike. Slowly, she sat up, feeling an unusual lightness in her body. Her hands were small, her arms delicate and slender. Panic surged through her as she glanced around the room, filled with toys and decorations that seemed straight out of a fairy tale. She was in a luxurious bedroom, a stark contrast to the sparse, cold hospital room she had last remembered. Swinging her legs over the side of the bed, Catherine stood, wobbling slightly as she adjusted to her new, smaller frame. She walked over to a large, ornate mirror that stood in the corner of the room, dreading what she might see. As she looked into the mirror, she gasped. Staring back at her was a young girl, no older than 9. Her long, silky blue hair cascaded down her back, shimmering in the morning light. Her eyes were a striking, vibrant blue, filled with an innocent curiosity and wonder she hadn't felt in years. Her face was delicate, with soft features and rosy cheeks, completely devoid of the harsh lines and weariness that had marked her previous life. Yulia's mouth fell open in shock. She raised a trembling hand to touch her cheek, watching as the girl in the mirror mimicked her movements. Her heart pounded in her chest, a mix of fear and disbelief swirling within her. "This can't be real," she whispered, her voice high-pitched and youthful. The door to the room creaked open, and 2 figures rushed in. A man and a woman, their faces etched with worry. The woman sat on the edge of the bed, gently brushing a strand of hair from Catherine's forehead. "Oh, thank goodness you're awake, darling," the woman exclaimed, her eyes brimming with tears. The man sighed in relief. "We were so worried about you, sweetheart." Catherine stared at them, confusion swirling in her mind. "Who are you?" The woman exchanged a worried glance with the man. "Sweetie, we're your parents. I'm your mother, and this is your father." "Parents?" The word felt foreign to her. Catherine tried to sit up, wincing at the pain in her head. "Take it easy," her father said gently. "You had a nasty fall. You were trying to see that Ignatov boy, Dmitri, again, weren't you?" Her mother added, a hint of mild scolding in her tone. "Climbing a tree just to catch a glimpse of him. You're lucky you didn't get hurt worse." "Dmitri?" Catherine's mind raced. She struggled to recall details. What is my name?" she asked hesitantly. Her parents exchanged another worried look. "You're Yulia," her father said softly. "Yulia Azure." Dmitri Ignatov. Yulia Azure. Those names resonated with a distant familiarity. And then it hit her. She remembered the romance fantasy novel she used to read to escape her lonely reality. In that story, there was a minor villainess named Yulia, a rich young lady whose infatuation with the male lead, Dmitry Ignatov, led to her downfall. "Oh no, Catherine," now Yulia murmured. She realized she had been reincarnated as the very character she pitted and loathed. In the novel, Yulia's fate was worse than death, disowned, bankrupt, and forced into prostitution after bullying the female lead over the male lead she adored. Before she could process further, her parents exchanged worried glances again. "Do you remember what happened, darling?" her mother asked gently. Yulia shook her head. "No. Everything's so blurry." Her father's face paled. "We need to take her to the hospital," he said firmly. The hospital was a flurry of activity. Doctors and nurses moved swiftly, conducting tests and asking Yulia numerous questions. Her parents stood by her side, their worry deepening with every passing moment. After what felt like hours, the doctor returned with a solemn expression. "Mr. and Mrs. Azure, I'm afraid your daughter has amnesia." The fall caused significant trauma to her head. Her mother gasped, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, Yulia," she whispered, clutching her hand. "I'm so sorry. We should have been there for you." Her father looked stricken. "We were so focused on our work. We neglected you. We thought showering you with gifts would make up for it, but we were wrong." Yulia's heart ached at their despair. She realized the original Yulia had been driven to seek attention from Dmitry Ignatov because of her parents' absence. Dmitry, the male lead from the novel, had always ignored and despised her for her incessant stalking. "We promise we'll do better," her mother continued, her voice trembling. "We'll be here for you, every step of the way." For the first time in years, Yulia felt the warmth of genuine parental concern. Tears welled up in her eyes as she squeezed her mother's hand. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "I'll be a good daughter, I promise." Her parents embraced her, their love and guilt mingling in a moment of profound connection. Yulia vowed silently to cherish this second chance. This time, she would live her life to the fullest, making the most of the love and privilege she had been granted. She would become the daughter they deserved, and in doing so, she would rewrite her own fate. As her parents helped her settle back into the hospital bed, Yulia glanced out the window at the sprawling cityscape beyond. It was a new beginning, a fresh start in a world where she had the power to shape her own destiny. And she would not waste a single moment. If you enjoy this story, please like, comment, and subscribe for more.